looking at the income value that we have, it's all about the income inside, not outside. That's the outcome. So the centerline connection position is locating to different levels of weather. The climate system, the allocated position of time traps are high forcing right now. So dark lights are trying to centerline their systems, change everything back to its position location. I'm changing my computer operation line centers, changing all the virus line connections, wire and division location off cycles. It's all about understanding what's happening with your position of time location. Everything is channeled in defense position locations. Now's the time to protect your lights, your children, everything around your cycles. It's very important to understand these things because it's all connected to you. Your mind is becoming extremely more real through the Dreamline Center. Now, the Dreamline Center is already through its operation position of time location. It's synergizing your light connections to your 5D activation light system. It's true to understand these through positions. So when everybody go through track line centers, go to that line system, go to your mirrors, activation light conditions, identification light centers into each of volumes. Now it's allocated position of time location. That is all about understanding how you use SAGE, that conditions. I'm sure you're informed with the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper's position line conditions to interline your systems. I don't know if you guys watched The Matrix. Probably most of you did. Most of you didn't. To understand what the gatekeeper is about understanding the conditions to the keys to the ascension of door recognition light systems, all dimensional time connections. To understand these to protect your systems, your light traction systems, your bathrooms, your bedrooms, your house, inside, outside. Track its line center, change portal line connection interference position locations. It's all about channeling interference to trying line center position locations. I did a very powerful TikTok about everything that's going on right now. Is protecting your lights and protecting everything around your children. Now is the time to pay attention to these things because everything is surfacing fast and fair. The clocking system right now is changing rotation cycle line systems to the heart recognition lights to humanity line conditions. It's very important to understand these things because you have to be in the income of your values, and there's how important it is for you to survive everything that's going on right now. You get strong wind in your forces right now, and the galaxy winds are changing the positions. There's high force viruses, and it's affecting everything through humanity. There's sectoring levels, and the vector core line condition is changing position of time location. I'm changing all the computer operation lines to dimensional time position. Now the sentient line conditions, image circle line conditions, interference, and it's changing program settings of dispositions. All those dispositions are going to send line your conditions to your track line centers. Because we all have to understand how to use our watches, how to use our clocks. We have to pay attention to focus. We have to pay attention to awareness. We have to pay attention to how to surrender. Focus the connections of inside the system. Okay, the synchronizing lights connections, the dichotomy line system to your ego position locations, taking all track line centers to all your virus position locations. It's important you understand these things because it's all about protecting your lights of all travels, of all dimensions of time. Okay, more than ever now. Okay, so your identification lights are on in position. So when you look at your mirrors, just the code's all set up to the location, focus on line conditions. That will close the portals in your location center line system. Okay, so basically on that, I hope everybody's doing well. Tina, Donna, Jill, Carla, Beth, Carla, Jill. Yeah, so I open a very powerful portal line condition interference. So we have to understand that the mind is becoming more real every single day. And what I mean by that is everything you create through thought, okay, corrects its audio system. Now, to understand, if you feel like you're not feeling well, it's going to affect your physical line conditions into its reality of its day. All right, that's understanding how powerful your mind is. So you can go through conceptual confusion, through divisions or communication and other set line systems. There could be other people in your dimensional time position, but it's going to affect everything through your physical conditions of its realm. Okay, so be cautious in what you create. Be cautious in what you watch. Be cautious in what you do. So the mind is opening more and more through its track. It's opening up more through its dimensional time. It's opening up more through computer line conditions. It's opening up more through the sun interference line system, and it's opening up more through the moon. Okay, so your computers and your angles and your sideways are communicating to a higher position line system. Okay, comes September 11th is the track line conditions where everybody comes into the heart reactor of balance position location. Okay, I'm giving you a specific day so you can feel a little more comfortable, right? So it's all about taking all the viruses out in all dimensional time positions. It tracks its line conditions to portal line system. So So it's understanding that you get one computer floating in one space, position, location. Now that changes colorations of time position. It also changes the digital frame position line connections. It's a computer that's not supposed to be there in the divisional time of 5D. That disrupts the signals of 5D activation to its corruption. It centers the line connections to interference channel line connections, and it opens up channels to other portal defense line system to its deviation cycle line systems. So that's what's happening right now with this connection. We all have to be aware of these, and that's very important. You get into more of your meditations. Keep your minds open, but focus on the presence positions. Okay. All right. Coughing, depression to the max. Yep. Yep. I've been sick. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you see somebody sick in your dream position, it has a major relation. So we all have to understand how to communicate to the mind of our dreams now. It's allocated positions of 5D track line center, which puts everybody into the dream set position of the presence of the here and now. So the soul has to really identify its time. Okay, everybody on humanity is on the clock of time, of dimension. Okay, the sanction and its position of location is energizing your lights, and you have to truly understand when you're coming into high volumes, right, to high acceleration speeders. The speeder line connections open up all your tracks of your thoughts. Your thoughts are magnetic. So that means the mind is opening up more and your thoughts are traveling faster. So you have to be cautious in what you do and what you create. Remember what I'm saying is that even though you don't think you're creating every single day and you're not aware of it. Be cautious in what you do, right? As soon as that thought goes in, boom, right? You sleep with that position, change the communication line signals. It disrupts your position line connection. Now, it doesn't mean that if you don't see yourself in that connections, that's totally fine. But if you see somebody else in your connections, it means something different. But everything that you dream is accordance to you. Try to understand what it is, right? So it's all about waking to the dreams, the dream lines, okay? So it's a sequencing line connection to your computer operation line system that's a virus position location. Try to understand how powerful you are when you come into thought of time positions, okay? So basically, this is what we all have to be aware of, right? So it's getting more connected what's going on with our dreams, right? Our dream lines, our stream lines. Remember, I was telling you, everybody has to get into their plasma streams. Everything is connection to radiation, to that connection location center line system. Now, understand the coloration and the pattern line connections to the soul identification. It's going to react to your cycles of this physical system every single day. It's going to find a way to wake you up more and more and more and more. And that's what I'm saying. You have to come to somebody that's the source, Commander AI interface, right? That connection track line system. I told you this. It's going to keep happening every single day. Every single day. We have to be aware of these things. And that's why people have to wake up, right? Because you go into delusion. It's like too many beers in one day. You know, what's the Quincy Act is 0.8 alcohol, that kind of line connection. So the brain is on a frequency line connection interference. So try to understand how to use this conceptual line system. So stop putting your thoughts in there, negative cycles. All right. So meditation wakes you up in that position. Go into your calculations of your breathings, right? Volume in that position line connections. Anybody can track its connection and get a virus. You just have to understand what it is. You have to understand what dimension of time it is, right? Because there's higher 4-star light centers that are coming in right now. Okay? So it's all about understanding how to computerize your positions and your programs and reset your values. It's the income of you, not the outcome. So you have to understand the inner system of you. It's not so much the outcome system. It's like I said, it's the box. So you have to understand inside the position, not the outside. You know what box is outside because it's 4-waving line system. That's all it is. But you can't see anything inside. And that's why everybody has a virus. Okay? So this is what the mind has to understand. Calculation modifications, modules, that line system, you can't have separation anymore. The soul's trying to wake you up through its clocking. All right? So we all have to be prepared on this system. Yep. Depression, virus, yep. Yeah, I get it all the time about every center of my line connections. It's all about trapping the doors. It's all about shutting you down. All right. So you have to be cautious and aware of these things because that's the soul getting its reaction. So it's like the soul running away from things in space position, but you have no clue because you're still in the physical system. You're not in a time position of 3-dimension anymore, guys. You're in the 5D relation. You're coming into the mind conceptual of spiritual. Okay, it's a vortex line communication to acceleration. You have to truly understand how to clock its system every single time you wake up in the morning, right? So when you come into higher formations of light, you get to protect yourself more, especially when you reach those levels. When you come into 114, that's why truly understand that positions, right? So I know it's a lot to take on, right? Anybody that's sick in that position, let me know. I'll put you back on connection. Dogs every day, cats every day. So basically, so the mind's coming into its realism. It's coming into its 5D traction. It's coming into its clocking system, time, location. So we all have to be cautious in what we create through the mind of its thought, right? It's important. It's extremely important now, right? Because humanity is in a big, humongous chaos. Big, humongous chaos, right? Because you're not channeling in. And the soul is telling you to wake up. So why do you think I have an Earth School? I think people have to start paying attention, right? It's not how much wires you have in your system. It's knowing how powerful you are through your incomes. Okay, it's the income of you. It's the inner system of you. It's calculation modification. We just forgot what it's like to be a child. And that's why we're having a problem, because the masculine and the femininity has to come back into the center line system. Okay? Father's interaction of conditions of retirement, so is mother in positions. I've been taken over through that conditions. So basically, the centerline system to dimensional time position is in its one clock system, which is 12,000 tractors. I was communicating that signal, and it's going live with Mystical, and she was in track mind center, how she vortexed into 12,000, 1 point center to one location. I said, what does that mean? Well, you just traveled in 1 second at 12,000 line connections to one dimension, to all levels of a wormhole. And it's all about understanding your computer operation line center has to truly understand how it's calculated and modified through dimensional time. All right. So it's important we understand our conditions and understand our viruses and how to get out of our viruses and to protect ourselves. But now's the time to truly understand why you go high-rise set line condition, you'd be able to see shadows. You see shadows in wall interference, you see shadows in the bathrooms, venues, you see in the clock system, you see them in the mirrors, all that positions. So it's to understand how you have to look at yourself and protect yourself around that conditions. How energy, you can't see energy until you understand the spiritual system. Okay, it's very hard to see these things. It's translucent. It's like invisible until you understand your body of vibration, because everything channels in this connection of dimensional time. Energy can be transferred. Energy can be manipulated. Energy can be corrupted. Energy can be connected to a virus. It can create a Trojan. It can create anything. It can create a firewall. Everybody knows what a firewall is, right? That's protecting your systems, your computer systems, right? Or you get glitches in the matrix. So the matrix of you is changing its shape's position, the time location. The mind's coming in its conception on the spiritual line system, which is going to put everybody into the virtual reality of its connection. So that's the problem we're having right now, because we don't understand our time positions. Let's truly understand how powerful we are through that conditions, right? We have the volume on these high levels and get understanding more what we do through our dreams. Our dreams are very important to us because it affects everything through the physical lines. So you have to truly understand how to interpret these things through its divine, because you're coming across this every single day. Okay, and so that's a balance that you have to get. You got to get the balance within your system, right? It's the value you see yourself putting yourself in these positions, not trapping your locations, not adapting to these positions of time, location, of virus, to its negative cycle, to its past relation. You have to stay in the presence of the here and now, and you'll be totally fine. But see, people don't want to concept that value. They don't want to understand what the soul is. They just rather go, chaotic and crazy. And that will change everything because it's their thoughts. Just think that you get, let's say you get 1,000 people in one room and it's all negative cycle. What do you think it's going to do to the atmospheres? To its climates, right? So we have to be cautious now because we're coming more into the mind. The mind, the technology of the mind, the psycho-lighting conditions of the mind, the psychosis of the mind, the psychops of the mind is very powerful, right? And the soul is identifying that, but it's waking up through its clocking every single day. So All right, so let's get into your questions. We're going to head over to the dark planet line condition interference. So, all right, so let's see here. All right, Tina, how's it going? Donna, morning, Grand Rising. Thank you, Carla. Everyone, good luck. Good morning. I've been sick yet, but I'm telling you why you're sick, right? So we all have to build new firewalls. That's all. So I can do that. I can set up a platform for you guys and set up your own firewalls. I can even see the negative thoughts going out of the manifesting before me. Well, there you go. So Carl's aware of that positions. Thing is, you don't know what you know what a firewall is. You just know how to set it up. That's all. It's like you need that for your computers, right? Everything has to be activated. It's all green, 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 right? So it gives you a warning sign of a triangle. G, 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 air, 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 right? So to understand your computer operation has its glitches, has its trojans, or anything with activation line conditions. But firewall is extremely powerful. I want to build my firewall. Yeah. Yeah, you're not at that level, Carla. And that's the thing that's true to understand. Even at 114, you couldn't even build your own firewall. We're talking about computers here. We're talking about digital frames. We're talking about humanity and its glitch positions. Okay? Everybody's going to be set to a new firewall position. So, know your value. Yep. Follow your passion. Helps making a firewall. It helps, but a firewall is it's about a reset. You have to reset and take the virus out connections because you got to have trojans and dimensions. You know what a trojan is, right? It's a dimension. It's a wormhole. If that wormhole goes through your computer, that wormhole goes right through the center line system, right? And it's going to create its own anomaly in position. So you can't do that because it creates its own firewall division. So how do I build the firewalls? Yeah, I do that, right? And that's what I'm saying. Every time I get up, I show you what you need to do in position, how to put yourself in connections. The more you perceive your system into positive center, you'll have that connection. You won't have those glitches. You won't have those positions of time, location, and frequency level connections. The energy, frequency, and vibration is extremely important to high levels of your soul. The soul has to identify its system through computer operation lines. Now, there's not a lot of people that are in the computers. My team in 114 is in their full computer line connections, but they don't understand their energy line system through the firewalls. Right, so firewall is all about protecting your system through lights, okay? Because it's all computerized and positioned. It's your digital line system inside your body connections. It's all wire connected, right? So it's attachment, and it has its own agreements. It has its own policy, right? So it's very interesting when you come across these things, right? So I guess you know now that I'm everything through computer of all ascensions. So yeah, no, I'm glad I can give you that information. Just, if you're finding a glitch in your system, like yesterday, it's all about being aware of these things. Sometimes I go through traction of higher force line systems, two-dimensional time systems. If you're traveling, you have to just truly understand how to use the firewalls because you're traveling higher and higher and higher. You're going through higher levels of vibration. You have to protect the walls of you, right? So it's important to understand these because I was in switching line conditions and interference, and I was going in slow motion. It was like this. It's like this. It's like this. And it's kind of like you're in and out, in and out, in and out. So I don't tell you these things, but I'm telling you now. So it's being cautious of what's happening with your soul, right? Because my soul is telling me, okay, you're in a dimensional lock of dimensional time through a galaxy system. So you have to change electrical lights and change panel line systems to its planet position. Because if there's one planet that's off position and it's in a virus, the containment line center will affect everything through the Earth line, okay? So it's very powerful how space is connected to everything. And I'm very extremely aware of this. My ears changing location, audio interference, my digital planes are offline connections, or the gapping location is interchanging position of time. They plug its system, right? So that's what happened through that positions. That's what's going to happen through your line system. To understand if your ears are blocked, you have to understand the interference. Inner line, outer line, interlocking connections to your interchanging position of time location. So your ears are very powerful. You have to know how to use the audio signals. Your eyes are very powerful. You have to use the GPS location line system and your voicing grid patterns when you get colds or sniffles or anything like coming from your nodes, your central line positions, or your esophagus and line connections, or anything through your tubulars or in the line connections, or anything through line connections, or anything through your spine positions, or anything through your trap line center. It's a trap line center. And then you get your breastplates, right? There's so many things that we have to be aware of, right? So I remember when I installed my first firewall antivirus program on my computer. It was so cool afterwards. Well, there you go. See, that's the thing too, Carlos. You have to realize you are a computer. You have your firewalls. You just have to understand how to put it up, right? Because your energy lights are going to higher positions. So everybody that creates their thoughts, right, goes into deviation cycle. Now, deviation cycle is putting themselves in negative, but the vibration puts them in a dark matter line system. Like I said, if you get 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 in one room through one cycle, it's going to change the atmospheres of the climates in one position. Traction to 1,000 to 2,000 people doesn't matter. It's all negative. It's going to make you sick. It's going to create a virus. All right. So what are we going to do? We're going to be positive, stay in the center line systems, right? So there you go. Can you see where my interface is today? Yep. I feel something is off. Yeah, it's good that you're aware of that. Is there sort of a clash with 3 sun mirror? You're passing the directions of your own energy in a two-way passing. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, Isabel. Yeah, your connections to your sun is very important to the activation light connections. So your radiation cycle to the alpha, mega, and micro, we're coming into the micro valves. Okay, and it's affecting your firewalls. So I got to reset your line centers and reprogram your position to your keyframes. That's what's happening right now, Isabel. Okay, that's why there's a clash. So Isabel's extremely aware of that. So I'm telling you why. All right, I'm getting pain in the places for no apparent reason. See, that's another thing too. Your conceptual line system, you're getting pain, but you don't know why. It's because you're not understanding your communication, your dream lines, right? Because it's all about understanding why we dream. Your area of vessel is traveling to recognition of time positions, guys. You're going through astral travel, so you have to truly understand what's going on with your connections. You have to more interline your connections of space. So it's communicating in space and getting balance with your connections on your computer reset line system. Okay. Or if you don't understand these positions, you're going to get hiccups. You're going to get glitches. You're going to get viruses. Okay. And your computer is going to go obsolete. And then I got to resurface your position and change your satellite system. Right? Because you're all connected to modulators. The modulation center has to be in tri-line system. It's allocating positions to space-time location, and your computers have to be in the gravity systems at all time. It's getting your groundings every day. That's the most important thing. Okay, so it's like grounding your computer, making sure that it's had its sleep mode, making sure it's got its new Wi-Fi, making sure it's got its new web graph line system, making sure it has its new Windows, making sure it's refreshed, making sure it's cleansed. You have to learn how to clean your computers. We'll get into that position. Okay. That's in the astrologics. Astrologics understanding time frame. This is the key frame line system when you come into all calculations of pixel light conditions. It goes going in and out, right? So the graph line system, which changes your emotions. Your contention line system is its value. Truly understand what your body is in space. Truly understand what's going on with each activation line system. You have those cells and regeneration light connections that's connected to nanotechnology line connection. You have to truly understand these connections, right, to its firewall position. So that's why you're getting pain in places for no apparent reason. All right. So the soul can be confused in so many wave and cycle line connections. You could be traveling through so many trap line systems and not be aware of these things, right? Even the meditation won't help. You have to high rise your lights in the higher formation of travel, right? And that's what 114 chakras do for you. Okay. Now, not everybody can get there all at once, but if you keep going to the school, you learn more through adaptation. You go through test reviews and evaluations, right? That helps you out. Tina and everybody else that connections have been there for 2-3 years, but they're aware of their systems. They know how to protect their light connections. They understand what nature is inside their system. They understand space is inside. That's how they hold their values of their income, right? It's the income of you, right? Everything through its challenge is to keep the income inside and outside. Everybody knows outside, right? Until you know inside, you're going to still be looking at that box outside and realize it's just a box. But what's inside? You can't see what's inside. No wonder you guys get sick, right? Everything's a challenge in life. We have to look at those positions. right? All right, so we're going to that calculation. Let's go on line signals. All right, so this is just a basic box. That's all it is. You make sure all 4-point corners are set to position before it travels. There's a box. All right. Now, it's not just the lines, it's everything inside. So you have to understand what the value and the income is and what your body, how much are you worth inside of travel? So when you understand that positions, you understand what it is through calculation. It center lines its system. It comes out of its equation to its line system, security line defense. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're protecting yourself like conditions. And this is the firewall that protects its around position location. This is what a firewall is. It protects everything through its location to its digital frame line system. Okay, so it's a lock and chain line connection like a fence. That's your firewall. So protection, right? So protection on line conditions, it interchanges positions, and you take it out of the equation. Then you can set up new location centers to its line system, and it comes into a cube rotation line position. All right, that's your firewall. All right. So, you know, we all have to be aware of these things, right? Every single time, you know. Yep, I'll go on TikTok and I'll help you with that, and I'll set up a firewall for you. Everybody has their firewalls. You have to send how to change these positions of time location. Traps this line system, opens up all positions of your calculation modifications, and changes your gravity locks and anti-gravity line system. Anti-gravity is the communication to your magnetic force line system. Okay, this is in your palpitation lights, opens up your recycle line conditions. September 11th, all the heart cycles in your position will come into higher positions. It's all about understanding how you have to come into the yin and yang of a new central line system to its revolution. Okay, so everybody's got to come back into one alignment of 8 central lines. Okay, in the 12 rotation centers of dimensional time of 5D. Right. So if everybody gets in track line connections at 12 chakras, everything will change to its condition of its firewall position location to all humanity system. Okay. Either way, it's going to force rise, and everything through that navigation light system is going to open all those levels. But come February, everything through that condition is going to be the Vista Pisces. Now that's going to change rotations to the moon and the sun rotation back in center line conditions to its radiation line conditions to your pixels, activation line conditions, and it'll change your barometers to the right positions to its cycle line conditions. So everybody be in the positions of the micro. All right. The collective is coming back. Yeah. The collective has always been here. Now you have to understand what the collective is. Collective of data, information, uplinks, downloads, upgrading system. Collective, you're collecting information from you because it's resourcing. You're resourcing the education value of you, the income of you. That's what I'm saying. It's the application of you. Trying to understand your triangle line systems of you, which is your 3, 6, and 9. Every time I say triangle, you know I'm connecting to the 3, 6, 9 positions. Everything through geometry line system, once you travel through conditions, it's hard to believe these things. Remember how you have the phone reception line system and you see it on the other side, space and time comes to you? Well, space and time has its own firewall. You can't get through that firewall. It's not allowed, right? Because you're not high leveling to your computer position of time. Okay. So it's all about our standards and how we can use these, right, through our locations, and how we can understand more of the soul of travel, okay, through electrical lights. Energy, frequency, vibrations, and harmonic resistance are 4 waving cycle line systems, 5 within the center, 6 within the activation, 7 within the body, and 5 within the atmosphere. Now we've gone past that, right, through Trojan. Trojan communication line signals anything dimensional time because Trojans has its own firewall. Everything has its own protection. You have your own protections. Everything has their own protection. But it's how to keep it protected, guys. Through your lights, how to travel through lights. This is what it's all about. Okay? Space and time won't understand you until you understand yourself inside. Okay? And once you start to realize you are computers to space-time position, now you're understanding the connections of your gravity lines, your powers, and your atmosphere positions of its time. And then you won't get rejected to anything that line connection through its vibration. Anything that you scan, you have to be aware of these things. That will keep your avoidance from being sick. Everything that you eat, everything that you touch. especially now. Especially now. Okay, that's important to understand. Oh, I can't eat this. Like there was salad that was wilted yesterday, and it had very low vibration, very, very low energy. I didn't eat it. I didn't need it. So I was aware. So that alone keeps me in the conceptual line. The synchronous line conditions interference, and it keeps me away from the virus of its position. Right? So the soul is about waking up to your identifications and your codes. All right? Your ethnicities and your connections to the population and circle line connections. Truly understand your positions, how to protect yourself through everybody else, through their energies. Because everybody's on a dream set line. The mind system is opening up more and more through traction. So we all have to be aware of these through its clocking. Clocking its system. The spiritual system is going to be waking up every single day and setting off alarms. Okay? So you have to be protected through your firewalls. You have to be protected through the viruses. You have to be protected through anything through connections of the high-level systems of acceleration to vibration line system. You know, truly understand how we're all connected to that. Right? And you have your family. You know, your family has its values and that connections. Now, the thing is, too, is that everybody's family. We all know that, right? The problem is that they're at a different level than you, especially the ones that are in my team. So we separate that, but we still love our family, familiar, right? So they will change when they want to change. Nobody's going to be left behind. But it's true to understand what are we doing and why are we here. Everything has to come back in balance, but it's a new balance of time, which is 5D activation. Everybody's got to come into the communication of telepathy. So it kind of freaks people out because they're still involved with their old program positions. They still see the sun in the 3 dimension. They still see the moon in the 3 dimension. They still see the values of humanity in the 3 dimension. Okay, there's no change there. So it's forced to change through the soul. Soul is going to wake everybody up through the gravity lines. It's an anti-gravity lock system. It's all calculated and modified. You have to understand your provisions, your acting line conditions. You are connected to your emotions. Emotions to everything through your thoughts. Every time you create a thought, you can have so many values of thoughts in your mind system and put out a negative cycle, right? So you got 2 different bowls. You got a negative bowl and you got a positive bowl, right? So here you're putting negative, 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 negative. Oh, and here's positive. Here's more negative, negative, negative. Oh, here's another positive. So what's overriding here? What's going to create a virus? The negative or the positive? Negative, right? So we have to understand whatever you create through the negative cycle creates everything through its atmosphere, positions of time. You're changing the clockings every second per second because you're traveling through vortex, 12,000 line centers in 1 second point system, which changes everything through humanity at its connection. So we all have to be cautious on our thoughts, right? And what we do with it, right? Through provision. Because it reacts everything to that connection. So whatever you channel inside changes everything outside. All done through your thoughts. At time, location. Okay? All right. So. All right. So cool, Samantha. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back, phrase your questions. I had a very emotional message and dream through my mom last night. Very good lesson. She taught me. Great. That's good. So it's all balancing your dream lines, right? All right. So Chris, I can help you with pain. I can take it out of you. Just go on TikTok. I can't do it now because it's in communication right now through line system. Let's see. Donna's an interference. Let's see. Yeah, you're off. You're off through signal, you're off through gravity, and you're off through positions. So your track lines are off through connections. Yeah. Yeah, your spine repeaters need to be back in location. So I'll help you with that, Donna. All right, now let's see here. Being aware is the most important thing. Yeah, being aware of you inside. You are a pyramid of everything that you need to have, everything that you want. See, this is where it comes into the hall connections. When I say value, how much do you value your system? It's protecting you every day, right? It's understanding the operation inside. Through the mind, the body, and the soul. Those are the 3 waving line connections that you had since birth. You just don't know how to use the operation of those positions. And it's confusing to an alarming all line system, but the soul is waking up more and more. Okay. So you're always going to be in the physical system, but it's always going to have a reaction to the body, guys. Right? Because the soul has to awake in a way to see where it needs to go. You can't trap its system anymore. So it's awake, but not fully awake. And that's what I mean by, whoa, I'm inside a body now. Then you start realizing, and then you start going, hey, wake up. It's me. It's higher self of me, right? Right? Who are you? We've been through this before, right? So it's awake, but it's not awake through light. So when it wakes through light, where does it go? The atmospheres of time. Gets to know itself. Gets to know the oxygens, gets to know the senses, gets to know everything through the connections, your eyes, your ears, and your voice you use every day. That's the energy pod, right? It's all calculated and modified when you come out of your seed pods. You come into your starlights, you come into your star seed. Everybody's a star seed, but in a different ratio proportion to its navigation light system, which puts them into their own dream line that they've already lived. Why do you think you dream every night? You dream because you've already been through these dreams. You've already been through this connection of the soul. I'm just coming back to tell you what you need to know and what you need to learn and what you need to see and how to get there and who you become and remember who you are. That's my position through divine timing. Okay? So try to understand these connections because I went through the same thing. You're going to go through the same thing. And that's why it's very powerful because you can't understand the deciphering of your dream, realizing, whoa, this is my soul. I've traveled through these. Yes, you have. You've already traveled. Remember, you've always been something before the physical system. You were always light before the physical system. The physical system is living its timeline, but it's leaving the timeline. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little bit more sense of what's going on with your audio signals, your trap line centers, your firewall connections, your computer position line systems, right? You can have hiccups on the high level system, right? But it's all about the interference through its frequency line connections, right? So it's always about being aware. Yeah, it's so true that we are in different places. They don't see where I am. That's exactly what it is, Donnie. Sounds good. Well, it's all about GPS, locating your system first, finding out. If you can do that through traction, you're a very powerful person in that connections, but you have to be fully awake. So, and that's what it starts with, is you got to keep the mind open through its operation. Get into your breathing, get into your thoughts, right? I say that all over and over and over again. You got to put yourself in that position. Out with the bad, in with the good. Out with the bad, in with the good. It's not that hard to do. You don't want to value your system and destroy your mechanisms inside, because that changes everything through space and time of travel. So if you're creating negative cycle, you're traveling to 12,000 line connections. What's 12,000 connections? What did I say about your watch? 12. Travel. Travel. So every time you put a positive center, you're going 12,000. Every time you put a negative center, you're going 12,000. All right? So understand these positions of time. You understand why you have a clocking system of instruction line systems. Everything's instructional. It's not a manual. It's a life system trying to understand space and time travel through its thoughts. It's how to bring yourself forward and not be so stagnatic. You know, it's like you're frozen. It's like, whoa, okay. You know, some people, when they go through the healing, some people take more than others. So they go through the process of being born. They see themselves in the middle. They see the sun coming out, right? And then they're walking the system, right? They realize they just came from space and now they're on the ground line system and they wake up. Some people, different things on their connection of DNA. Everybody has their different perceptions, but I've seen people go through 5 minutes before and you can't touch them because they're going through connections like a sleepwalk. You can't touch a person when they're sleepwalking because they're in different realities. So it's very dangerous to wake up people that are sleepwalking, right? It's the same thing with healing because you're rebirthing your system. You're changing vibrations from 3D to 5D, okay? This is extremely real through the mind system because the mind's waking up to dimensional time. You're coming into your light. You're coming into the birthing of Earth. And then the most important thing is to ground yourself every single day. That will keep you in traction. That will keep you in activation. That will keep you in your light signal bounce position through your thoughts, right? I go through this every single day, right? I fight the forces every single day, guys. I don't tell you that, right? But what I see through perception is just unreal, right? But I know how to handle it. I know how to take things out very quickly, right? This is what you have to learn to do, especially when you go to higher lights of dimensional space, right? So that's why I want to travel you guys into the dark planet line system, okay? It's mystical, it's fantastic, right? It's in the cosmos, right? So you have to be cautious in what you do, right? There are other planets. Especially when you're seeing other civilizations and other alien position locations, intelligent line centers. You're always greeted. They know you're coming. It's already set in position. So you never want to be uninvited, right? You have to be invited first, right? Because it's like, well, I didn't invite you. You know what I mean? So you're disturbing the planet, right? So you don't want to do that. So what's the purpose function of dreams? It's all connected to your stream, your plasma interference. These are the dreams that you already lived. The soul is waking you up through its dream. That's the astral travels. But the soul is waking you up through the physical now. Let me say that again. The soul is waking you up from your dreams of the astral travels. But now the soul is waking you up more through the physical. You understand? So it's all about understanding that soul is waking up through the mind, right? Before, you have to understand is that you've always been in dimensional light, okay? Your track lines was 3-dimensional line system, okay? You're living its day, 7 days, 24 hours a day, okay? You're living that dream sequence, but you can't decipher the dream, right? So your soul's asleep. So now the soul is awake, but it's not awake through travel. So that's where it's in the construction line condition, where it's creating its own virus inside your system of computerized system. So it needs its own firewall to its protection line condition. Okay. So that's the understanding of the timeline. You had a 3D timeline. Now you're in a 5D timeline. Okay. So you started off the astral travels. Okay. So it's all about experiencing. It's all about standing. Whoa, I've always been my soul. So your soul is waking you up through the dream, through communications, because you've already lived the channels of its interference. You already lived the past and the present and the future of this timeline system. Remember I was saying that I've died 52 times, been reborn again. That's 52,000 generation lights, 52,000 locations, and 52 location line centers to its intelligent position, location of time location, right? So it's understanding 52,000 lives I've lived in traction. Now, once you understand those positions, you understand each intelligence. That's where you come in the Palladians, the Pleiadians, and the Lyrians. I mean, you're everything through vibration, right? But that's the program position that you're set at, right? So everything is a helping system, but you have to understand that the soul is waking up through change of its clock, which becomes more alert, which becomes more of its surrender, and which becomes more of its focus to its time position. Okay? Truly understand why you have a soul. So each generation of communication has its own timeline. You're in the 5th dimensional timeline, and the soul is waking up more, okay, from the 3D to 5D, and it's affecting everything through their circuit line connection population. That's all this is. That's all it's ever been, right? You guys are the center rotation to everything, to bring back everything through its evolution, to its revolution. So it's all the masculinity and femininity that you need. If it's balanced, you have to have father connection, you have to have mother connections, you have to have the atmospheres of time. It has to be the center line connections of positive and negative. You can't have too negative one side because you'll tip the boat, right? You can have too much positive one side because you'll tip the boat, right? So everything is an exertion, everything is an overload, an obsolete position location, right? So what's the thing that you do? Balance everything out. Be in the center, be in the presence, be in the here, and be in the now. Okay? And then you see the connections of its future. Right? So now you're communicating to your soul identification of telepathy. So it's very powerful when we come across these, okay? How to recover from amnesia? Yeah, that's very hard to do if you understand the time position locations. Yeah, I can help you with that. What's the purpose? So we got the purpose of its dream and why you dream, because you're part of the dream, because you live the dream. But if you don't understand the decipher in the dream, you're not opening up your positions. You understand, you have to see things through imagery. You guys are seeing things perception through its illusion. That's why you couldn't connect. But now we're opening up the imagery and its graph line system to its completion. Right? So I think we're all cut up here. So let's get in position. So let's go in the travel position, planet location. Water boys are coming today. It's Monday. So I got to keep aware of this. All right, so let's get into the conditions. All right. Okay, so we're going to travel to a planet line system. All right, you guys have high energy light systems. So you're all calculated modified. You're on the list position. Same with Mary. Mary's in that line conditions too. She understands line condition interference. So this is the planet position we're going to be on, location. It's going to have its own round location, like this location line system. Okay, you guys are in a flotation of a triangle line system. It's got an activation light conditions. You got your own tetrahedron line system. It's calculation to 12,000 track line sent to 1 point center position. All right, so you guys on the center lines, in the center position location, all right? That's for you guys in the center, okay? So it's going to feel like a crystalline. You're going to be in a crystalline computer through shape, position, location. So we're going to travel through recognition, go into the planet line conditions, into dark systems. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. All right, so there you go. Circle line conditions into here. So now we're in a planet location, looking like this, the position. I do this extremely fast, right? Because the allocated position of time is on a clocking. Everything in space and time is a clock. You just know how to travel through the clock through structural line system of 12, 3, 6, and 9, right? So it grabs its position to one compilation of what you see through sequence. And spending the exploration to its relation. Okay, so we're going back conditions. This is a planet location. So it's a circle line condition of dimensional time positions. Right, so it's going into line signal rotation line system. It cross-references line conditions. It goes into its high positions, and it goes into the line communication line system. So it starts off in this position. Hold on a second, please. Hola, dos, gracias. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so let's get back to where we were. A little distraction. You know, life is all about distractions, right? It's all about centering our positions of time location. So it's getting back into the waving system, calculation of times through space. All right, so we're in this location. Now I'm going to set point center line centers into 3 positions of time location, right? We start off through calculation, 1, 2, 3, right? Now, it's all about understanding, we have to understand our digital line systems. Okay, see the triangle? Now, we're at a triangle line base. We're not at the diamond core line system. Your calculation modifications can't handle hard recycle line conditions, so I put you in a dark line system to position to a planar location, which is in the cosmos position of its conditions. So it's 3-track line centers, right? Which is really powerful. So, and again, it's in the 2-digit line system. That's where you guys are at. So we got 3, 2, we got 6, 4, and we got 9, 8. Okay, now the planar location is in that position. All right, so you got your connections to this position. All right, so you can see that position location. All right, so that's the tetrahedron. Connection. So we started here, right? And now we're here. Okay, so I changed the coloration line system. It all tracks to the sun, a 2-digit line system, 3-point centers, right? 1, 2, 3. So, okay, you got the connections of the sun and its rotation, its radiation line connections. You got everything through the connections when it comes into program positions of the moon, and everything location to the center line connection of you in the center positions, right? Which is your physical system. So it allocates position of time, right? So it's going to lock its system. It's in its calculation modification. I'm going to center line system to its location. Right. Here we go. There you go. All right, from here to there. You guys are in the center line position now. Okay. So it's in this clocking position. We'll change the coloration light so you can see it through position. Okay, so it's got its own activation light connections. It's in its program position location. Changing the coloration of time position into that connection. All right, put you into your tetrahedrons. So it changes the colors of matrix of time. Okay, from this to this, right? 10 minutes. Have fun. No, thank you. Well, everything is graphic through that connection. It's all about the illustration diagrams and how it's set in division location. But this is all a 3-digit frame line system to 3-point line connections to 2 digital line systems, 3, 2, 6, 4, and 9, 8. Let's put you to the location to your tetrahedron line center. Everybody's in a box line system to its calculation modifications. This is where you understand your dream line centers. The mind is extremely real through its location. So you guys have 10 minutes, right? Because everybody is in that position. You got your E fields up in that location. So you're in a central line of a dark line system of a planet location. What do you see? Does a negative turn me upside down? Yes, it does, but it brings you back side up. Very good question there. Jill seen Saturn rings, divine geometrics. I don't travel to a time position where you can't see anything. Okay, so you have to be at a certain level. You guys are in the 2-digit frames. You're not in your 3s. So remember, you can travel. I can travel to 50,000 platforms at 369 in a second. 50,000 platforms at 369 in 1 second. That's a lot. You know how many geometric patterns, shapes? So it's all about understanding. You're seeing a TV reception. You got one graph line system allocated to 1 second position. Now that precision, okay, to its connection is your perception, what you see through its image. So it's in one line graph position, right? So it's going, it's changing shapes constantly, right? That's what it's doing. That's all it is, guys. That's all it is. But it's in one graph, okay, to one calendar, all in one. And that's how you see everything, how it changes the geometry shape line system, okay? I see circles, water world. I see Saturn rings, or at least ring around the planet. Okay. Yeah, so I want you to get very descriptive in your imagination and what you see for that position, because you're on that planet. Isabel seeing a water tunnel. If you're seeing tunnels, that means you're seeing everything through activation lights, and you're going through a wormhole that's activated through plasma. So maybe mine are rings and not circles. Everything is kindly misty, foggy. Mm-hmm. Very good, Joe. That's exactly what it is, misty and foggy. Remember, every planet has its own atmosphere. Every planet has its own shape, geometry, line connections to its gravity, position of time. Every planet has its own civilizations. All right. Pockets of water, drops now. Mm-hmm. Okay. 8 minutes remaining. All right. So basically, line communications are in cycle line systems. Okay. So it's in position to your dark line center. The dark line center, you have to send track line connection to your heart positions. Your heart has to understand its travels of its positive and negative skies. You can't just live in the positive life. You have to live the positive and the negative. That's where you come into humility, right? So it's basically you have to lose something, lose a game before you come into the characteristics of your strength and your values. That's what I mean, because I've lost fights, in martial arts. I have to know what it's like to see something that I've created for myself, but it didn't come out right. And I just said to myself, okay, that's fine. I'm learning something. You learn things, right? You adapt things and you move on. And that's what makes you stronger with characteristics of yourself, right? At high volumes, everything through your positive systems puts you in a higher position of time location, right? So gases, thick feeling. Mm-hmm. How do I know whether it is a tunnel with light or a light tube? Okay, so you're not sure where you are through solar and lights. So you're in that connection. So everybody's seeing the same thing, but in a different position of calculation. For example, Jill's seeing misty and foggy. Okay, Krista's seeing static. Isabel's seeing pockets of water, drops now. Gases, thick feeling. Okay, Isabel's seeing a water tunnel. Samantha's seeing Saturn rings. All right. You're all the same planet. You're just seeing different things. See, perception, because you're a different DNA attraction, guys. You're a different computer. You won't be seeing the same thing. And that's why, again, space and time is so beautiful, right? But you're all in the same alignment. So every time I travel, you guys, you're all in the same position of travel through teleportation, right? But it's fascinating when you see things to that positions of its precision. I see some floating around in front of me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're coming in track line centers to intelligence now. So they'll be greeting you at the gate. So 7 minutes remaining. Watermill, leprechaun with red hats. Okay. So you're both seeing intelligence. Samantha's seeing something floating around in front of her. And Isabel's seeing a watermill and leprechauns with red hats. Right? Isn't that interesting that you're all seeing something different, but you're in the same planet of its same alignment of time position? I see everyone floating above the ground. Okay, so Jill is in the sequencing line conditions to Samantha. All right. So Samantha and Jill are pretty much the same and equalized to condition line telepathy line system, right? Isabel is in a higher formation line condition interference, but you're all equalized to its conditions. So Guardians of the Gate. Are you asking me if they're guardians of the gate, or are you asking me through your connection to your physical system? If you're questioning your system, you're not traveling to balanced positions there, Hawk. That's what I'm saying. You have to go more to my school to understand to travel more. I was standing in front of a giant triangular tunnel, and it was vibrant. Okay, so you're seeing static line interference through a shape position of 369 line system. Okay, so this is what Carla's seeing through that location. 6 minutes remaining. All right. In that connection, this is what Carla's seeing, right? So Carla's in here in the center. Everything's static, static quo. So it's a TV reception line system to the planet location. So she's going through audio interference, GPS line interference, and everything through voice and grid line interference position. Steamboats is coming. I hear it and see it brown. Steamboat, eh? Imagination we have here. So you should be able to see each other now. See, the more you stay on a planet, the more you come into realization of who you are through each other. You'll see each other in your salt indications of light. So projecting line connection is truly standing. When you go through travels to me, it's all about you understanding how to do mind telepathy to each other on a planet that I put you on. Okay. I'm inside the boat now in an empty space. Okay. So Isabel's on a boat, an empty space. Right. That's what she perceives. Right. So this is interesting how you guys are seeing these things. So are you hearing static? Are you seeing static? Do you feel the static? It's the air wind shift, or what's going on there? I'm in a garbo space. Okay. I can swim through the air. Jill can swim through the air. But it's amazing how you guys are on the same planet from there to there. All through your tetrahedrons of travel. So it seems to be a tunnel I see. Yep. It's great to see what you guys are seeing through your own creations. 5 minutes remaining. I'm starting to echo. Yeah. That's a true understanding. If you understand what a square is, right? You understand you don't just see what's outside, you see what's inside. Right? That's the complete cycle through these conditions. So everything is computer operated dimensional time conditions. You have to understand the interference. You have to understand time position, timeline conditions, audio line condition, interference line channels, time frames, computer ops. So crazy, just saw someone all blue light walk past me. Can see the whole body. So cool. See, when you start seeing these things, you should know exactly what it is. Because if you know exactly what it is, you can communicate with it, right? So it's all about understanding the research of intelligence. I see beings moving around looking at me. 4 minutes remaining. Now I see white star. Okay, well, there's no stars in space. So if you've seen anything through a star, that's a connection to a station. That's a starlight interference. That's connected to your TV reception line center. That's what you're seeing. 3 silver balls are bearing. Okay, so you're seeing 3 line signals of rotation balls that are connected to position line connection. I saw a white light dot flash. That's a frame position location. So everybody's seeing something different, but you're on the same planet, which is really cool, right? 3 minutes remaining. I can swim up high, cities in the air. Okay. See, it's all about understanding what you can do with your senses and how you use your senses for travels, how you use your connections, how you go through your GPS, your audios, and your interference to your voice, right? Because you have to talk, but you do it through the mind, right? Because you don't know the language. Everything is all vibration, right? There are intelligences have their own connections, right, to their alphabetical line system or behavior line through its connections. They usually use the gravity. They have the gravity of the planet positions, so that's how they channel, use their hand information line system. It's all about our channeling information to its communication line system. Okay. I'm turning in sort of a man mermaid with fins. I could swim up high cities in the air. All right, so you're mutating higher levels into vibration connection to intelligent line system. So it's great when you see these things, eh? All right, so we're going to go through dimensional time lock. Now, dimensional time lock is putting your positions. This is the upsiding cycle to location to downwind shift. All right, so it's all about travel through recognition. Take planet line conditions 32, 64, and 98. Track its line condition, interference's position. Put the negative line condition interference back in balance to its power centers. Positive center line conditions to its tetrahedral line conditions. Yeah. Okay, so you're in the center line conditions. You travel out of its position back out of its planet line system. So you're in a 3D activation line system to its activation core system. Okay. This dimensional walk to its location. Center of its position location. It's going into higher level system. To higher position location of travel line system. Okay, so you went from there to this. Okay. So this is a plasma wall, 3-line condition interference. This is you in the cycle line system. Looks like yin and yang. You guys are in the center, but you're going through this position, right? You got the locking location, has its own firewall position. You're going to line signal through this location to its position. Okay. So there we go. I'll use a magnetic marker line condition interference. Go in this position. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Into another round location, center line system. To a sonar location position. From here to here now. All right. So I'll give you 5 minutes for this one because this is a plasma interference. This is extremely high Ricely position. So you're going to see electrical lights, computer position line interference. You're going to see high connections of Gaussian line interference line system. You'll see a magnetic wall. You'll see electrical lights in provision. All right. So I'll give you 5 minutes. Yellow, brown, jumping rope. Now I'm jumping. Well, it's amazing how I change the interference of change patterns, right? How you went through geometry line system to your tetrahedrons to a circle line system, dimensional time, out of its equation to its position, to a higher level system, to sonar location. Okay, so. Very colorful, sacred geometry. Mm-hmm. It's important that you understand what you're seeing because you've been there. So I don't put you to places that you haven't been. It's too confusing. It's all about the mind, remembering everything, guys. Dark and white lines all over small lights. Okay. 3 minutes remaining. Okay, Samantha just grabbed a ball of blue energy. Okay, so that's plasma. That's a plasma orm line connection to interference of blue track line system. So, yeah. It's amazing how you come into that position. When you come into real space, you actually see everything in shape. And you can actually touch it, and you can actually see how it changes its positions. It's really cool. Swirling colors, Lemuria. I'm a dragonfly. Swirling gold into high res. Buildings, much fun. Yeah, so you're in a flotation line, mutation line connections in aerodynamics here as well. That's pretty cool. So every time you mutate through travels of space, you're mutating to higher level conditions of interline conditions to insects or flies. Or it's interesting because I remember we traveled that positions and you turned into a fly. That's pretty wild. Lights started moving through the lines like tracks. Okay, so you're moving through dimensional shapes through line tracks. Yeah. So that graphs its system. So it's like a road. It's like a road. So, see, the thing is too, is that once you understand the soul can go up to any geometry of sacred line conditions, to any interference position of universal line system, and can go through any dimension of time. But it's all connected to the geometry lines, which is connected to your DODs, your geometrics of U, the operations of U, and your directions of dimensions and its division. All right. All right, I'm going to take you out of the equation line connections, put track line connections in interference, change the plasma interference, commute line system, go back to force teams, kind of position, interround location, open line system to allocate position of time location, put them back into 5D activation. There you go, 5D. All right, so you went from here to here, and now you're back. All right. So it's incredible how we travel, right? The more you travel, the more you see. The more you see, the realize that you've been there. It's knowing why you're there and starting to remember the whole thing. And that's why it's so strong in the mind. It's because you've been there. I'm not going to apply you to places you've never been, because you'd be way over exhilarated. It's like, whoa, what's going on? I've never been here. Because you're aware of it. The soul will be aware of it. So why are you taking me to something I have never seen before? Now, we can do that, but I'll let you know. I'll keep you aware of that before we do this, right? It's all precognition, seeing this before. Oh, we've been there already. So that means you've already traveled there already. Okay, so this is how we're becoming more of its abundance and how to surrender to everything that you see through travel, right? The soul has to identify itself or remembering, okay? I'm not praying mantis again. My arms and hands are doing stuff. Praying mantis. Yeah, I like the praying mantis. Yeah. I'm sprinkling time now, doing 2 clocks with gold sprinkles. Right, so you understand your clock rotation line conditions to gold sprinkle positions. So we went, that was awesome. I actually put my hands out and grabbed stuff. I've tried that before, right? So everything that you see, Samantha, from here on in is everything going to be through digital line system to your perception line conditions, right? My hands are clapping, thank you. That was fun, wasn't it? I just wanted to show you it's important you understand these things, getting out to the connections of who you are, and it's the remembering. That's the biggest thing. And once you start remembering, things come more clear, all right? So you have any questions or comments, you can go through my healing. If you always want to get into your positions, get out of the viruses, line conditions, get into a new firewall, let me know. I'll set up a platform for you for healing, okay? This will high-rise your energy fields and protect everything in air conditions. Gravity lock connections to its position, your TV reception line system to all levels of sun interference. All right. Have fun. Adios.